Hello and welcome back to This Explainer. Okay, today we're tackling something that I think pretty much all of us know, but we rarely actually talk about. You know the feeling. It usually doesn't hit you all at once, right? It kind of sneaks in. You wake up, you open your phone, and boom. Someone your age just announced something huge. A promotion, a wedding, maybe they bought a house. You scroll past and there's another one. And another. And suddenly you get that heavy, quiet ache. That tight feeling in your chest where you just feel stuck, like you missed a turn somewhere along the way. Well, today we're going completely under the hood. We're looking at the hard data, the psychology, and the neuroscience to figure out exactly why you feel this way, and more importantly, how to finally break out of it. It really comes down to this incredibly visceral question. Why does it feel like everyone else was just handed a map while you're still trying to figure out which direction is up? Because let's be real, when you're scrolling through social media and that chest tightness hits, your brain doesn't exactly respond with curiosity. It responds with judgment. You end up asking yourself over and over, what is actually wrong with me? It literally feels like time is just zooming by for everyone else and crawling for you. But before we dive any deeper, I want you to look at this number, 7 out of 10. Honestly, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, remember this. Studies show that nearly 7 out of 10 adults secretly feel behind on their life timeline. Behind in love, behind financially, behind in their careers. That is massive. Think about it. The married folks are envying the single ones, the single people are envying the married ones, corporate workers want to be entrepreneurs, and the entrepreneurs are desperate for stability. Basically, almost everyone thinks they are losing the race, which means, ironically, your feeling of being behind is actually the most common experience out there. Okay, let's jump straight into section 1, the illusion of being late, and the cultural fabrications we all seem to buy into. So we were all basically sold this standard timeline, right? Graduate by 22, get the career going by 25, married by 30, kids by 35. But here's the crazy part. That timeline was literally invented in the 1950s. It has not been a reality for decades. Look at the actual statistics. The average person doesn't even hit financial stability until their late 30s or mid 40s. Huge creative breakthroughs, those usually happen between 40 and 50. And get this, the average age of a successful entrepreneur isn't some 21-year-old kid, it's 45. So you are not actually late. You're just comparing yourself to an expectation that is entirely outdated. And the global data backs this right up. When researchers look at the life satisfaction U-curve across 130 different countries, a totally consistent pattern shows up. Life satisfaction naturally dips in your 20s and 30s, which makes total sense because that's when you're putting an insane amount of pressure on yourself to figure the whole shebang out. But watch what happens after that. Satisfaction naturally rises right back up in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. So feeling a bit lost right now? It's not a personal flaw. It's not you failing at life. It's actually a statistically proven universal part of the human journey. Moving right along to section 2, social comparison bias, and how our modern environment kind of weaponizes these anxieties. So the main culprit driving this is something psychologists call highlight bias. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's when we compare our really complex, messy, behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's curated, filtered out outsides. You see the wedding, you see the promotion or the beach vacation, but you literally never see their breakdowns, their self-doubt, or their financial stress. We make this massive false assumption that we know the whole story based on a quick status update. You are essentially comparing your unedited footage to someone else's highlight reel. And listen, this isn't just a mild, everyday annoyance. It actually has serious clinical consequences. Social comparison theory breaks this down into 2 types. Downward comparison, where we compare ourselves to folks we think are worse off, and upward comparison, comparing ourselves to people who seem to be doing better. Social media is basically an upward comparison machine, and academic studies actively link constant upward comparison to much higher rates of clinical depression, anxiety, and a drastic drop in self-esteem. Our brains simply were not built to compare our private, unfinished lives to the perfectly curated achievements of thousands of peers all at once. Which brings us to section 3, the biology of deadlines. Let's look at what's actually happening inside your brain. Now, this is a really fascinating concept, temporal self-discrepancy. It turns out, a lot of the time, the heaviest pressure doesn't even come from comparing ourselves to other people. No, it comes from comparing ourselves to the imaginary version of who we thought we would be by now. Think about it. When you were 18, you probably sketched out a plan, but that plan was totally imaginary. It didn't account for, being an actual human being or how much you were going to learn and change. Yet, when the gap between who you are today and that teenager's imaginary plan gets too wide, your brain quite literally registers it as a failure. And what happens when the brain registers failure? It slams the panic button and goes into survival mode. You see, neurologically speaking, your brain's number one job isn't to make you happy or successful. It's to keep you alive. So if you feel like you're failing your timeline, or if you're dealing with burnout or mental health struggles, your brain interprets that as a low-grade threat. This overloads your nervous system, which literally freezes your ability to take action. Long-term planning completely shuts down because your biology is pouring all its energy into just keeping you safe in the present moment. So if you feel like you're moving slow right now, please hear this. It is not laziness. It is your biology protecting you. You are healing. Let's pivot slightly to Section 4, cultural timelines, and the systemic causes behind all this pressure. We also have to look at how academic research shows cultural norms dictating these timelines. The source material brings up a concept known as hegemonic masculinity. In academic terms, this basically describes an ideal form of behavior defined by those holding power in a given society. So in the US, for instance, this has historically been tied incredibly closely to capitalistic success, dominance, and strict economic stability. When people feel like they don't perfectly squeeze into these rigid historical roles or hit those economic benchmarks, it creates a massive amount of cognitive dissonance. It makes you feel like you're falling way behind the accepted cultural standard. Building on that, the sources break down the cultural values under capitalism, highlighting things like individualism, competition, and this idea of equating success directly with personal worth. This systemic framework basically trains us to internalize economic milestones as the ultimate proof of our moral value. If society is constantly whispering that your worth is tied to your competitive economic performance, it is completely 100% natural that a pause in your career or just a season of slow growth is going to trigger a profound sense of panic. Okay, so how do we fix this? That brings us to Section 5, reclaiming your own pace through actionable frameworks. We've got 4 really practical steps here. Step 1, compare less, connect more. We need to stop obsessing over where we are compared to everyone else and start looking at where we are compared to yesterday. Really, your only true competition is the person you were 24 hours ago. Step 2, rewrite your timeline. Remember, your life isn't late, it's just layered. Step 3, identify your season. We'll get into that in a second. And step 4, define progress as consistency, not speed. Taking just one tiny step every single day builds way more sustainable momentum than burning yourself out in a month. I want to focus on step 3 for a second, identifying your season. Take a step back and ask yourself, what season are you actually in right now? Are you in a season of healing, maybe rebuilding, or maybe just resting? You absolutely cannot compare your season of planting seeds or your season of healing to someone else's season of harvesting. They operate at a completely different pace. If your friends are out there getting promotions, but you're in a season where you're just learning how to breathe and find your footing again, you are not behind. You are building the foundation. And that leads right into this crucial idea: celebrate invisible progress. We live in a society that really only claps for things that can be photographed or slapped onto a resume. But the most vital growth, it happens completely underground. Just surviving your own thoughts, building emotional maturity, developing your resilience, those are massive, incredible milestones. Just because people can't visibly see the internal work you're doing does not mean it isn't profoundly valuable. Honestly, some days, your biggest achievement is just not giving up. I want to share this really incredible quote from psychiatrist Dr. Viktor Frankl. He said, "Humans can endure almost any how if they have a why." When you're feeling paused or totally stuck, you don't actually need some grand 10-year master plan. You just need an immediate why. And sometimes your why for right now is just to wake up tomorrow and try again. That is enough. Ground yourself in that. Find that immediate purpose, untangle your actual value from your speed, and just let yourself heal without rushing to catch up. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When you finally decide to stop running a race you never actually signed up for, your past becomes a teacher instead of a judge. Feeling behind isn't some permanent identity you're stuck with. It is just a temporary perspective right before a deeper, truer motion begins. You are not late to life. You're just standing right at the threshold of becoming who you are actually meant to be. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.